Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Plays. Wow, that's a cool look. Oh, okay. Anyway, hi, how you doing? Well, we're here for another adventure, you and me, and it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, whether it's day or night. And today I want to talk about something very cool that's very influential in my life. It might be in yours too, and that is the space race. Yes, it's an ever-evolving thing that goes... Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, let's get to the action. We are in the marketplace here in Blade Sorcery, and this is survival mode as always, where 3 weapons come out. I choose one and I wreck faces. You know how that goes. If you've played the game, you are also... I missed that totally. Anyway, if you've played the game, you know how awesome this is. I'm about to show off some slaughter skills as we go along. Nice, big, rusty sword. This is gonna really leave some people with some tetanus. Anyway, so let's get started with our first traditional slow motion kill of the day. We're going super slow-mo since they introduced this super focus thing into the game. I can just take my time dissecting them and chopping them up and flying them around and stuff. Can I get a... Is he gonna go in the Brad Pitt? No. Oh, damn. Anyway, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to today's topic. So, when I was younger, when I was a young pup a long time ago, and I'm not making that joke again, 84 years. Okay, maybe I will.
It's been 84 years.
Anyway, when I was younger, the space race was like, okay, so Russia, the Soviet Union at that point, stop. Anyway, Russia at that point was really into the space race for a long time. All right, they were the first to put up a satellite, Sputnik, a very cool basketball with some antennae on it, and we freaked out as a nation here in the United States over that. We didn't like that at all, so we started going and pushing real hard and developing technology, and we developed the Mercury program and the Gemini program and the Apollo program. The Apollo program is where stuff got real, because the Apollo program was all about getting to the moon. And so John F. Kennedy, I mean, I wasn't wrong, but John F. Kennedy, JFK, tasked the United States with reaching the moon within the decade that he was saying this. I think it's 62, 63 where he was saying that. And reach the moon and bring people back from the moon before the end of the decade. Because it's easy to get to the moon. Well, okay, maybe not. It's not easy to get to the moon, but in comparison to landing on the moon and then bringing someone back from the moon, that's kind of challenging. And the cool part was we developed all of this tech. Everything. Things were handmade, circuits from copper wire that were hand woven by people to make the computer do things. And like the computer that they used is so much less powerful than what you got in your pocket right now or what you're watching this on. It's ridiculous, like a calculator. One of those graphic calculators you used to use for math class, or maybe you do right now. Those are more powerful than the Apollo computers that took men to the moon and brought them back after landing and taking off. And that was when things got sparked. Man, you might have seen Toy Story, okay? If you've seen Toy Story, there's a point where it goes from Woody, cowboys, and then slowly they have that little time lapse that goes and turns into spacemen, okay? Now, I'm not sure when that movie is supposed to take place, but that was accurate for the time from the 60s, like the 50s to the 60s into the mid 70s. Everything started turning from like literally Davy Crockett and cowboys and Indians and stuff. And yes, I said cowboys and Indians, calm down. That's what we called it back then. Contextually, it wasn't meant to be cruel. Anyway, this message brought to you by social justice warriors. Anyway, so everything went from like cowboys and stuff to literally just space. Everything was space. You could space toys and sheets for your bed and oh god, wow. Okay, excuse me. as we get back up here. Space toys and space everything, space wallpaper and all that. And it all got to the point where it was saturated, and we kept developing this technology, and Russia kept developing their technology. We finally landed on the moon, and we kind of beat them in the space race, right? That's what it was called. It was called the space race. Oh, God. Oh, okay. It was called the space race because it was literally the race to get to the moon and back. And we won that. Hold on. Let me punch this guy real slow-mo. Hey! Oof. Party for one. Now boarding. Oh, boy. Anyway. Ow. So, the space race came. We won it, technically. Okay? Because we got to the moon and back. Well, at that point, things kind of slowed down, but at the same time not. We started putting up like space stations, and then that became the new space race. Who could put up a space station first? Russia beat us on that. They put up the first Soviet space station. I can't remember. It was called Mir. Yeah, it was called Mir. And that one was up there for a while. If you saw Armageddon, the movie about the don't want to close my eyes, fucking Ben Affleck and stuff. Anyway, if you've seen that one, the space station that they go to refuel at is the space station Mir. At least it's supposed to be. So that was a rickety old piece of garbage that they had up there for a long time. And then started making the International Space Station, and that became more of like a joint thing. So, you know, we had this kind of effort going on with the Russians up in space. Each of us had our own modules to it. You know, it was pretty cool. It still is pretty cool, although apparently, according to some news reports, not only has it been leaking air for a really long time, and they can't figure out exactly why, but some of the astronauts, oh no, all of the astronauts say that it stinks. That it just smells weird in there. I mean, you're cooped up in a tin can up in space. Anyway, so that's kind of a joint effort, and everything was going good with that joint effort until China decided to start their own program. And their program is called Long March, okay? That's not a cute little name. Like Apollo, okay, Apollo was the the Greek god of war, I think. Yes, and it was meant to be going up into space like the gods, right? Mercury and Gemini and Apollo, and so they figured they were going to call it Long March over in China. Now, Long March refers to their program having a very long, like, time frame. Oh no! But their program had a very long time frame. And it does. It's got like a 100-year time frame. If there's one thing that China does very well, it's plan for the future. Now, they may not do great on all the things all the time, but they do have very good and comprehensive plans for the way that they want to do stuff. And when they developed this Long March program, they started launching up more and more advanced rockets and like, okay. And that was a little concerning, but it was like, okay, well, you know, why not? Why don't other countries develop their own? We have, well, I'll get to those in a minute. Anyway, so they started launching up more and more advanced rockets, and they've been slowly, kind of quietly developing it. And people didn't really pay that much attention to it. It's like, yeah, it's China doing it, you know, whatever. And then they started building a space station. Okay? If you don't know about this, they have a space station. And it's growing every single day. You don't really hear about it in the news because there's not a lot that gets released about it. We don't know. We actually don't really know what they're doing up there. They launch certain probes and things like that we're not sure what they do. Okay? So, the new space race has sort of begun with that topic. The thing that really worries us, though, this is the one that gets people a little bit. The moon. The moon! Okay? The moon has always been the place that we want to go back to. And people are like, well, we did it back then, why can't we do it now? That's kind of complicated because the technology that we developed specifically for the purpose of getting to the moon and back, most of the people that designed that stuff are now dead. And so, oh wow, oh, I made a goal. Anyway, most of the people that designed that stuff and operated it and programmed it are dead or to the point where they can't remember what the hell, So the operating systems are so drastically different that we can't figure them out. And that developed technology was specialized. We dumped an absolute assload of money into that program to get it to the point where we could make an entire system designed to go to the moon. Well, we can't just really do that these days, okay? It's more complicated than that now. The technology has advanced to the point where we have to start over with the system. And like I said at the beginning, getting to the moon is easy, okay? Landing on the moon is not. If you follow the news, oh God, don't hit me with that, don't hit me with that. If you followed the news, you may have seen that we've had a few mishaps. The world has had a few mishaps with the moon. People have crashed on the moon. More countries have crashed on the moon than they've landed on it. I'll guarantee you that. There were things like a specialized probe satellite thing that was supposed to launch up to the moon, and it would land, and it would have all these ashes of all these people that wanted to get to the moon, and there were celebrities on it and stuff, and it launched, and then it didn't make it. I was watching that one and I was like, oh no, it didn't make it. God, that's awful. What do they do with all those people? Right? So, but the moon is scary because the Chinese have said that they want to build a permanent base on the moon. Not just go to the moon, not just land on it and come back. They want to land on it and establish a permanent base, which gets a little dicey. Right now, you're probably going, oh God. Well, yeah, it's right to feel that way because whoever gets to the moon first and establishes a base, you might have seen, what the heck is that name? That I can't remember. It's something on Disney or Apple Plus. It's that reimagining of the space race if the Russians had landed first. I can't remember it. I'm sure I will. I'll put it up on the screen there. Okay, that one, yes. Essentially, the idea in that one is whoever establishes a permanent base has a permanent advantage for the rest of the time that we're doing it. And that's that's really substantial. That's something we really want to get on top of. And so we've had the new space race. You might have noticed lately that there has been this extra effort to develop a whole bunch of programs and vehicles and technology that's designed to get us to the moon. Now, you may think that that's like, oh, it's just a goal. We want to go back. No. The government and people like Elon have been paying attention. And they are seeing what I'm telling you about, and they want to get to the moon first. That's why they're talking about Mars. You may have your own opinions on whether we should go to Mars or not, but if we get there first, we plant the flag, right? Now, I know there are treaties that we've signed around the world about how we should treat the moon or other planets or other moons or whatever, but, well, we sign contracts with people that don't really like us and may not feel very obligated to keep those responsibilities if they get up there. So, we gotta get to the moon, we gotta do it fast, and so the space race again is on. And if you look at it that way, it's pretty damn intense because we've got Starship, right? Elon's Starship from SpaceX that can go up and land and bring them back. He's working on that, but if you've seen they catch those boosters on the towers. Oh my gosh, is that some really cool stuff? I don't know if you've seen it, but it's mind-blowing to send up the Starship booster and then catch it on those chopsticks. Oh my gosh. Oh, my heart flutters. Anyway, yes, I'm a dork. Anyway, so the thing about it is we got to develop it first because the Chinese, they are spending a good amount of resource on this because, again, like I said, they plan for the long term. That's why it's called Long March. I want to get rid of that sword. But that's why it's called Long March, because the idea is to make it a long-term program that has a commitment that builds on it piece by piece. In this country, we have all the privatized ones, but this is where it gets cool. All right? So not only do you have SpaceX, who's getting government contracts to take astronauts to the moon, but you have people like Blue Origin. All right? You've got Rocket Lab and Electron, and I mean, there are so many companies that are out there that are trying to revolutionize the space race and make it into an affordable, fast, recoverable, reusable resource that gets cheaper to bring things up into space. And when we make it cheaper to get into space, well, we can make space stations around the Earth that are fueling platforms for orbital work and going to the moon. It's this big ball of technology. The problem is all these different companies are developing all their own stuff and occasionally probably like get each other on the phone to ask a question about something that they've done before. You know, I can imagine like Jeff Bezos getting on the phone with Elon and going, "How you doing that whole catch the thing? Can you give me a little bit of insider info on that?" I don't think Elon would tell him. But all the technology is being developed in all these different places, and so it's not really netting together very well. While the Chinese are developing entire programs, governmental programs, designed to make those things happen. So what do we got to do? If you are someone that wants to go into the STEM programs, right? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, do it. Do it. Get into it. Go apply at SpaceX. Go apply at Rocket Lab. Go apply at NASA, although their program is a little behind lately. But they're still using some of the same rocket boosters from back in the Apollo era. Anyway, so that's my little blurb for the day. I am so excited about the new space race. Are you? Let me know in the comments, because it's a sweet thing, and I think it captivates the imagination and the mind, but at the same time, it's like Star Trek is starting to become real. You know? Anyway, we'll see you on the next one here on Orpheus Plays. Be good, do good, treat yourself well, because you know what, friend? You deserve it. See you in the next one. Bye!